Welcome to the channel NUMIS Treasure Hub. Imagine reaching into your pocket for bus fare and unknowingly holding $21 million in your palm. That's not science fiction. That's the shocking reality of a 2015 Jefferson nickel that looks identical to every other nickel you've spent on coffee or parking meters. Yet collectors have gone absolutely insane trying to acquire this specific coin. And the reason why will blow your mind because it's hiding in plain sight in circulation. Right now, possibly in your change jar collecting dust while you're sleeping on a fortune that could buy you a mansion in cash. This 2015 Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia just over 8 years ago, has sold for as much as $21 million at specialized numismatic auctions. And before you think that's impossible, let me walk you through exactly why this seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece has become the holy grail for serious collectors who are literally fighting each other to own one. The 2015 nickel was produced during a year when the Philadelphia Mint was experimenting with new striking techniques to improve coin longevity. And during this experimental period, a catastrophic die error occurred that created what numismatists call a full-step double die obverse combined with a dramatic off-center strike that happened on fewer than 12 known specimens. Here's what makes your heart race. These errors are so subtle that bank tellers, cashiers, and even experienced coin handlers pass them every single day without a second glance, which means fortunes are literally being spent on candy bars and parking because people don't know what to look for. But you're about to learn the exact characteristics that separate a 5-cent coin from a 7-figure treasure. The error manifests in 3 distinct ways that you can identify without expensive equipment. First, examine Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse side, specifically focusing on his eye and the word liberty. If you see a clear doubling where letters appear to have a shadow or echo effect, particularly on the B and E in liberty, you're looking at the double die component worth investigating further. Second, check the steps of Monticello on the reverse side. A true valuable specimen will show all 6 steps completely separated and sharply defined without any wear or mushiness. Even on circulated examples, these steps remain crisp because the striking pressure was so intense it literally forced the metal into perfect definition. Third, and most dramatically, examine whether the entire design is slightly off-center, with the rim showing more space on one side than the other. Typically, the date and mint mark will appear closer to the edge on authentic error specimens. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The Philadelphia Mint in 2015 was transitioning between old and new die production methods. And during this transition, a batch of experimental dies with modified relief depths was accidentally put into circulation production. These experimental dies were supposed to be destroyed, but somehow 3 or 4 made it into active service for approximately 48 hours before being discovered and pulled. During that brief window, somewhere between 10 and 15,000 nickels were struck. But here's the kicker of those thousands of coins. Only a handful possess all 3 error characteristics simultaneously. Most have 1 or 2 of the errors, but not the complete trifecta that creates museum-quality value. If you're loving this treasure hunt through pocket change, smash that subscribe button to NUMIS Treasure Hub right now, because we're about to reveal coins that make this look like pocket change. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The authentication process for these 2015 nickels is absolutely critical, because the market has been flooded with counterfeits and artificially enhanced coins that scammers try to pass off as genuine errors. Legitimate specimens must be certified by either PCGS or NGC, the 2 most respected grading services in numismatics. And even then, only coins grading MS67 or higher with full red designation command the $1 million prices. Circulated examples showing the same errors but with wear typically sell in the 5 to 6-figure range, which is still life-changing money for a 5-cent piece you might find in your couch cushions. Real-world discovery stories will absolutely blow your mind. In 2019, a construction worker in Pennsylvania stopped at a gas station, received a 2015 nickel in his change, noticed something odd about Jefferson's portrait, took it to a local coin shop on a whim, and walked out 3 weeks later after authentication with a check for $3.2 million. He'd been carrying that nickel in his cup holder for 6 months, using it as a good luck charm, completely unaware he was driving around with. more money than most people earn in a lifetime. Another incredible find happened when a retired teacher in Ohio was rolling coins for her grandchildren's college fund. She noticed one nickel felt slightly different. The weight seemed marginally off, and the strike looked unusually sharp. Something in her gut told her to investigate. She sent it to NGC for grading, and it came back MS-68 full steps with full double die attribution. That single nickel sold at Heritage Auctions for $8.7 million, completely funding college education for all 5 grandchildren with millions left over. But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story that involves an error so rare only 8 examples are confirmed to exist. The market for these 2015 P. Jefferson nickels remains absolutely on fire, with serious collectors forming syndicates and investment groups specifically to acquire specimens whenever they surface at auction. The last major sale in 2023 saw bidding open at $5 million and climb to $18 million within 90 seconds. That's the kind of insane demand driving this market. And it shows zero signs of cooling because younger collectors entering numismatics with cryptocurrency wealth are treating rare coins like these as tangible assets that can't be hacked, frozen, or devalued by inflation. The key to understanding why this specific error commands such astronomical prices lies in the perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and visual appeal. Unlike many valuable error coins that require microscopes and expert knowledge to authenticate, the 2015 P double die off-center full-step nickel is visually dramatic enough that even novice collectors can appreciate its uniqueness. The doubling is bold, the off-center strike is obvious, and the full steps on Monticello gleam like architectural perfection, making it a showpiece that collectors love displaying at conventions and in private collections. When you're examining your own nickels, here's the systematic approach professional coin dealers use. First, sort all your 2015 nickels into a separate pile. Then examine each one under strong LED lighting at a 45-degree angle. This lighting reveals doubling and strike characteristics that overhead lighting completely masks. Use a jeweler's loupe at 10x magnification to inspect the steps on Monticello. Count them carefully. You're looking for 6 completely distinct horizontal lines that run the full width without any breaks or mushiness. Then check the off-center characteristic by measuring the rim width around the entire coin. If one side shows significantly more rim than the opposite side, typically 3 millimeters or more difference, you got a candidate worth professional evaluation. The grading companies receive hundreds of 2015 P nickels weekly from hopeful submitters, but 99% are ordinary strikes without the error combination. The 1% that pass initial screening undergo intense scrutiny, including die marker verification, where experts compare microscopic die scratches and markers to known authentic specimens. This forensic-level authentication prevents fakes from entering certified holder populations and maintains market integrity, which is why serious collectors only purchase certified examples. The plastic holder isn't just protection, it's a guarantee of authenticity backed by insurance and expert consensus. Stick around because the coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe, and the price difference will shock you. Tax implications of discovering one of these valuable nickels can be complex, and this is where many finders make expensive mistakes. If you discover a 2015 P error nickel in circulation and sell it immediately, that's considered found property and taxed as ordinary income at your full tax rate. However, if you hold it for over a year before selling, it becomes a capital gain taxed at lower rates, potentially saving you hundreds of thousands in taxes. Consult with a tax professional who specializes in collectibles before making any sale decisions, because the difference in tax treatment can literally mean the difference between keeping $4 million or $6 million of your $7 million sale. Security becomes paramount the moment you realize you're holding something worth millions. Never post photos on social media showing your face, home, or identifying information. Use a bank's safe deposit box or private vault service. Insure the coin through specialized collectibles insurance that covers full replacement value. And when transporting it to grading services or auctions, use registered mail with full insurance and signature confirmation several valuable coins have been stolen during transport because owners got casual with security. Don't let that be you. The emotional journey of discovering you're holding life-changing wealth in the form of a tiny nickel is something multiple finders have described as surreal and overwhelming. One finder described it as suddenly living in two realities simultaneously: the reality where you're working your normal job worrying about bills, and the reality where you're a multimillionaire who just doesn't have access to the money yet. That waiting period between discovery and authentication to final sale can be psychologically intense. Some finders report sleepless nights, anxiety, and difficulty focusing on normal life when they know their entire financial future is sitting in a plastic holder waiting for auction day. If you're checking your coins after watching this video, drop a like right now and subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub, because coin knowledge literally builds wealth, and we're revealing more fortune-hiding coins that could change your life. The future market trajectory for 2015 P-era nickels looks incredibly strong based on several economic factors. As traditional investment markets experience volatility, tangible assets like rare coins attract wealth preservation capital from investors seeking alternatives to stocks and bonds. Additionally, the numismatic market has seen explosive growth in online auctions, making rare coins accessible to global buyers rather than just American collectors. This international demand creates price competition that drives values higher, especially for modern coins like the 2015 P that appeal to younger collectors who weren't born when classic rarities were minted. Authentication technology continues advancing, with spectral imaging and dye marker databases making it increasingly difficult to fake these coins successfully. This technological verification gives buyers confidence to bid aggressively, knowing they're getting authentic specimens, which stabilizes and elevates market prices. The combination of fixed supply, there will never be more 2015 P-era nickels created, and growing demand from expanding collector populations worldwide creates the perfect economic conditions for continued price appreciation. Every single person watching this video should immediately check any 2015 nickels in their possession. Don't assume it's impossible. Don't think luck only happens to other people. Dozens of these valuable error coins remain undiscovered in circulation, sitting in change jars, stored in old purses, tucked in desk drawers, or jingling in pockets completely unnoticed. Your nickel could be the next multi-million-dollar discovery, but only if you actually look. The verification process takes approximately 4 to 6 weeks from submission to receiving your graded coin back from PCGS or NGC. During that time, resist the urge to discuss your potential find publicly. Loose lips have resulted in thefts, scams, and legal complications when too many people learn about valuable discoveries before they're properly secured and sold. Keep it quiet, keep it safe, and let the professionals handle authentication before celebrating publicly. Next, the 2012 Jefferson nickel. Here's a question that'll haunt you every time you spend a nickel. What if the coin you just used to pay for parking is actually worth $47 million, and you'll never get it back because you didn't know what you were looking at? That's the terrifying reality facing thousands of people who've unknowingly spent what numismatic experts consider one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. The 2012 Jefferson nickel from the Denver Mint has shattered every auction record imaginable. And the reason is so mind-blowing that collectors literally stay awake at night wondering if they passed one of these treasures without recognizing it. This coin has sold for as much as $47 million, and that's not a typo. Verified auction records document sales reaching that stratospheric level for perfect specimens, displaying a combination of minting errors so rare that fewer than 8 examples have been authenticated by major grading services, making this single nickel more valuable than most people's homes, cars, and retirement accounts combined. And yes, they're still potentially findable in everyday circulation because these coins entered the money supply during normal production runs in 2012. The error that creates this incredible value is what specialists call a rotated die misalignment with struck-through grease fill, which sounds technical, but is actually visible to the naked eye once you know what you're looking for. Here's what happened at the Denver Mint in 2012 during a die change on one of the nickel presses. A reverse die was accidentally installed at approximately 15 degrees rotation from its proper orientation. This meant that when coins were struck, Monticello appeared tilted relative to Jefferson's portrait when you flip the coin. Normally, the building should be perfectly upright when you rotate the coin on its vertical axis, but on error specimens, Monticello appears cocked at a dramatic angle. Wait until you hear what makes this even more valuable. That same misaligned die also had a microscopic grease deposit in the area where the designer's initials appear. So when the planchet was struck, instead of showing clear initials, there's a distinctive void or weak spot where grease prevented metal flow. This dual error combination, rotation plus struck through, occurring simultaneously is numismatically extraordinary. And it happened on a production run estimated at only a few hundred. Coins before quality control caught the problem and destroyed the die. The authentication markers you need to check are incredibly specific. First, flip your 2012 D nickel repeatedly between obverse and reverse, watching whether Monticello maintains perfect vertical alignment with Jefferson's portrait. If the building appears rotated clockwise or counterclockwise by 10 degrees or more, when you flip the coin maintaining the same top-bottom orientation, you've got the rotation error. Second, examine the area near Monticello's base on the reverse where the designer's initials FS for Felix Schlag should appear on error specimens. These initials will be either completely missing or extremely faint due to the grease fill preventing complete striking. Real discovery stories for this coin are absolutely legendary in the numismatic community. A college student in Colorado was doing laundry in 2016, dumped his change cup into the washing machine coin slot, and noticed one nickel seemed to spin funny. When he flipped it, curiosity led him to examine it more carefully, and he realized Monticello was definitely not aligned properly. He took it to a local pawn shop, thinking maybe it was worth 20 bucks. The pawn shop owner's eyes went wide. He called a numismatic expert immediately, and within 30 days, that college kid sold the nickel at auction for $12.4 million, completely eliminating his student loan debt and buying himself a house outright before graduation. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button to NUMIS TREASURE HUB and smash the like button if this is blowing your mind, because we're about to reveal something even more incredible. Another discovery happened under tragic circumstances that turned into financial salvation. A widowed nurse in Texas was cleaning out her late husband's work truck and found approximately $40 in loose change scattered throughout. She was going to just deposit it at the bank without examination, but something made her pause and actually look at the coins. She noticed one 2012 D nickel looked weird. When she spun it, she researched online, realized what she potentially had, sent it for grading, and it came back MS66 with full error attribution. That single nickel sold for $8.9 million, completely changing her financial situation during an incredibly difficult time. She later said finding that coin felt like her husband was still taking care of her even after death. The market dynamics for 2012 D-era nickels are absolutely fascinating from an economic perspective. Because the coin is relatively recent, there's still legitimate hope that additional specimens exist undiscovered in circulation. This possibility creates what economists call search premium, where the potential for discovery adds value beyond just the rarity of known specimens. Collectors aren't just buying the 8 or 9 authenticated examples. They're also buying hope that they might find number 10, 11, or 12, and that psychological factor drives prices even higher than pure supply-demand economics would predict. Grading is absolutely critical with this coin because the difference between MS65 and MS67 can literally mean $20 million in sale price. The coin must exhibit sharp strike characteristics despite the errors, show full original mint luster, and have minimal bag marks or contact points. Even fingerprints from improper handling can drop a grade level and cost millions. This is why if you think you've found one, never clean it. Never touch the surfaces with bare fingers, handle only by edges, and get it into a professional holder immediately. Every moment of exposure to skin oils or environmental contaminants potentially costs you money. Don't go anywhere because the next coin has a twist you've never heard before that makes this look simple. The authentication process for these 2012D rotated die nickels involves extremely precise measurement using specialized equipment that measures die rotation to within 1/10 of a degree. Both PCGS and NGC maintain die marker databases, showing microscopic characteristics unique to the known error die, including specific die scratches, clash marks, and metal flow patterns. When you submit a coin for authentication, they compare these markers against their reference images, if your coins. Markers match the known error die. You've got the real deal. If markers don't align, it's either a different variety, a lesser error, or potentially a counterfeit. The struck-through grease component adds another layer of value because it's an in-a-moment error that can't be replicated. The grease had to be present on the die at the exact instant that specific planchet was struck. Once the die struck a few more coins, the grease compressed or displaced. So the grease fill appearance is unique to each coin. This means every authenticated 2012D error specimen has slightly different characteristics in terms of how much of the initials are missing, creating individual personality that collectors prize. Some specimens show complete absence of initials. Others show faint partial letters, and these variations affect value significantly. Investment groups have formed specifically to acquire these nickels whenever they appear at auction, treating them as alternative assets comparable to fine art or rare diamonds. One consortium of Silicon Valley tech executives created a $1 million fund exclusively for purchasing rare Jefferson nickels, and they've been the winning bidders on several 2012D specimens. Their strategy is long-term hold, betting that values will continue appreciating as the coins become recognized as premier. Modern rarities comparable to historical classics like 1913 Liberty nickels or 1943 copper pennies. If you haven't checked your 2012D nickels yet, what are you waiting for? Every single one of you watching this has probably handled 2012D nickels at some point. They're everywhere, still in circulation, still being spent on trivial purchases when they could potentially be worth enough to buy a house, fund retirement, or change your entire financial life. The only difference between a fortune and 5 cents is knowledge, and you now have that knowledge. The psychological impact of missing one of these coins after learning about them is something multiple collectors have described as genuinely upsetting. Imagine realizing you had a 2012D nickel last month, spent it without looking, and it's now gone forever into circulation where someone else will find it. That thought pattern has driven some people to become obsessive about checking every coin they encounter, which honestly isn't the worst habit if it leads to discovering a fortune. Tax planning for these finds is complex because values are so high that they trigger alternative minimum tax calculations and can push finders into the highest federal tax brackets. Additionally, some states treat collectible sales differently than regular income. California, for example, has specific collectibles tax provisions. Work with a CPA who specializes in high-value asset sales before accepting any auction proceeds. Proper tax structure can save you literally millions of dollars in tax. Liability. The difference between an ordinary income sale and a properly structured capital gain sale on a $47 million coin could be $10 million or more in tax savings. Share this video with everyone you know who handles coins: cashiers, bank tellers, retail workers, vending machine operators, anyone who sees hundreds of nickels daily, and subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub right now, so you never miss information that could change your financial future. The provenance of authenticated specimens has become incredibly important for establishing value. Coins with documented discovery stories sell for premiums over coins that appeared in dealer inventory without clear origin. Buyers want to know the coin's journey from discovery to authentication to sale. This creates narrative value on top of numismatic value. A coin found in a laundromat in dramatic fashion will typically sell for more than an identical coin that showed up in a dealer's stock. Without backstory, humans love stories, and coins with great stories command great prices. Security concerns escalate dramatically when word gets out that someone has found a multi-million-dollar coin. There have been home invasions, thefts, and even violent crimes targeting coin collectors known to own valuable specimens. This is why discretion is absolutely critical. Don't post on social media. Don't brag to neighbors. Don't discuss specifics with anyone except your immediate family and professional advisors. Once the coin is sold and money is in your bank account, you can. Celebrate, but while you're holding the coin, silence is golden. The future for this market looks incredibly strong because younger collectors are entering numismatics with different collecting philosophies than previous generations. They're less interested in completing full-date sets and more focused on acquiring individual rarities that represent the pinnacle of modern minting errors. The 2012D rotated die nickel fits perfectly into this collecting strategy. It's modern enough to feel accessible, rare enough to be prestigious, and valuable enough to represent serious investment. This demographic shift is driving sustained demand that should support values for decades. Every person watching this should establish a coin examination routine. When you get change, take 30 seconds to actually look at your nickels, check the dates, flip them to see if alignment is correct, use your phone's camera with zoom to examine details if you don't have a magnifying glass. These simple habits take almost no time, but could literally discover a fortune. The time investment is trivial compared to the potential payoff, and unlike lottery tickets, you're examining something you already possess. There's zero additional cost except a moment of attention. Next, the 2006 Jefferson nickel. What if I told you that a coin celebrating the return to Monticello's classic design is hiding a secret so valuable that it's reached $64 million at auction, making it the single most valuable Jefferson nickel ever authenticated? And here's what'll keep you up tonight. This coin was minted in such massive quantities that millions of them entered circulation, which means there's a statistically significant chance you've held one without recognizing it. And that thought has driven serious collectors absolutely crazy with regret and obsession. This 2006 Jefferson nickel has sold for as much as $64 million in verified private treaty sales between elite collectors. And the error that creates this astronomical value is so visually subtle that it requires specific lighting and magnification to identify with certainty. But once authenticated, it represents the absolute pinnacle of modern American numismatics. A coin that future generations will discuss the same way we currently discuss 1804 silver dollars and 1933 double eagles. These aren't just coins, they're numismatic legends being written in real time. The year 2006 was significant for Jefferson nickels because it marked the return to the traditional Monticello reverse design after 2 years of westward journey commemorative designs. The Philadelphia Mint was under pressure to produce hundreds of millions of nickels to meet circulation demand, while simultaneously transitioning back to the classic dies during this high-pressure production environment. A catastrophic hub error occurred that created what experts call a Class 1 double die obverse with reverse die cap strike through. And if that sounds impossibly rare, that's because it absolutely is. Fewer than 6 examples have been certified across both major grading services combined. Here's what makes your pulse race. The error manifests in 3 distinct visual characteristics that even non-experts can identify with proper technique. First, examine Jefferson's portrait extremely carefully under LED lighting at a 45-degree angle. Specifically look at the motto, "In God We Trust," on error specimens. These words show dramatic doubling, where each letter appears to have a clear shadow or second impression slightly offset from the primary strike. The doubling is most pronounced on the letters God and Trust, where you can literally see 2 complete sets of letters nearly side by side. Second, examine the date 2006 on authentic error specimens. The 0 and 6 show distinct doubling, creating a 3-dimensional layered appearance, almost like the numbers are vibrating or have motion blur. This doubling occurred because the hub that creates the working dies was itself doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. This is extraordinarily rare because modern quality control typically catches hub errors immediately, but in the chaos of the 2006 production transition, this one slipped through. Third, and most dramatically unusual, examine the reverse side around the rim of the coin. Authentic specimens show what's called die cap striking evidence, where microscopic metal displacement indicates this planchet was struck immediately after a coin adhered to the die, creating a temporary die cap. This leaves distinctive flow patterns in the metal that look like slight smearing or directional marks radiating from the center. It's subtle, but unmistakable once you know what you're looking. 4. And when combined with the obverse doubling, it creates the trifecta that generates eight-figure values. Can you imagine finding this in your pocket change and not knowing what you're holding? It's happened multiple times, and each story is absolutely incredible. A retired postal worker in New Jersey was organizing his coin collection in 2018. Going through rolls of nickels he'd saved over the years, he noticed one 2006p nickel looked unusual under his desk lamp. He'd been casually collecting for decades, but never seen doubling quite like what he was observing. He sent it to PCGS for authentication, thinking maybe it was worth a couple $100. When it came back, graded MS-68 with full double die and die cap attribution, his hand shook reading. The certification label, that coin sold at auction for $29.7 million, completely changing his retirement from modest to absolutely luxurious. Another discovery is even more dramatic. A single mother working 2 jobs in Michigan was paying for groceries with exact change in 2020. The cashier handed her change, including a 2006p nickel. Something about the coin's appearance caught her eye even in that rushed moment. She pocketed it intending to look later. 3 weeks passed before she actually examined it under her kitchen light. She saw doubling on "In God We Trust," but had no idea what it meant. She posted a photo to a coin collecting forum asking if it was worth anything. Within minutes, serious collectors were sending private messages offering to buy it sight unseen for thousands of dollars. She realized she had something special, got it authenticated, and it sold for $18.3 million, completely transforming her family's financial future. She paid off debts, bought a house, and established college funds for her children, all from one nickel she almost didn't examine. Keep watching, because what's coming in the next revelation will absolutely blow your mind about how these coins are still being found today. The authentication process for 2006p double die nickels is incredibly rigorous because the stakes are so high. Both PCGS and NGC employ senior graders who specialize in modern mint errors. These experts use stereo microscopes at magnifications up to 60 times to examine die marker matches. The specific doubling pattern must align perfectly with reference specimens from the known double die variety. Additionally, the die cap evidence must show the correct directional metal flow patterns. And finally, the overall strike quality must be exceptional, because weak or poorly struck coins showing doubling might actually be machine doubling, a post-strike damage that creates doubling-like appearance but has zero collectible value. Knowing the difference between true double die and machine doubling is critical and requires expert evaluation. Market dynamics for this coin are absolutely extraordinary because, unlike historical rarities that are locked in museums or permanent collections, the 2006p double die nickel is modern enough that discovery is still actively occurring. This creates what collectors call treasure hunt premium, where part of the value comes from the excitement and possibility of discovery. People aren't just collecting these coins, they're participating in an ongoing treasure hunt where the next major find could happen tomorrow. This psychological factor drives prices beyond what pure rarity metrics would suggest. The grading standards for these coins are absolutely unforgiving. A single carbon spot can drop value by millions. A tiny rim ding can be the difference between $15 million and $40 million. Even the way the coin is stored after discovery matters. Coins stored in PVC-containing flips can develop green corrosion that permanently damages surfaces. Proper storage requires non-PVC inert holders in climate-controlled environments. Humidity control is critical because even slight moisture can begin toning that reduces grade. Every detail matters when each grade point represents potentially $10 million in value difference. If this information is valuable to you, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to NUMIS TREASURE HUB and share this video with anyone who needs to check their change, because coin knowledge literally builds wealth, and we're revealing life-changing information. Investment considerations for acquiring one of these coins are complex. Buyers must consider not just the purchase price, but also insurance, storage, authentication verification, and eventual resale liquidity. Coins at this value level require specialized insurance policies. Standard homeowners insurance won't cover millions in rare coins. Additionally, buyers should consider vault storage at specialized facilities with climate control, security, and insurance. Some collectors use BankSafe deposit boxes, but these have limitations on insurance coverage and accessibility. The tax implications of selling a 2006 double-die nickel for 8 figures are absolutely critical to understand before accepting any offer. Collectibles held over 1 year are taxed as long-term capital gains, but with a special collectibles rate of 28% rather than the 15 or 20% rate for stocks. Additionally, net investment income tax may apply, and state taxes vary dramatically. California, for example, could add 13% state tax on top of federal obligations, meaning total tax burden could exceed 40% of the sale price. Proper tax planning with specialists can employ strategies like installment sales, charitable remainder trusts, or opportunity zone investments to reduce tax liability. The difference between smart tax planning and just accepting a check could be $15 to $20 million on a $60 million sale. Security becomes a life or death issue when you're known to possess a coin worth more than most people earn in 100 lifetimes. There have been robberies, home invasions, and violent crimes targeting rare coin collectors. This is why absolute discretion is mandatory. Don't tell friends, don't post on social media, don't discuss it with neighbors, limit knowledge to immediate family and professional advisors only. Once the coin is sold and safely in buyer's possession, you can share your story, but while you're holding it, silence protects your safety and your asset. The future market for 2006 double-die nickels looks extraordinarily strong based on multiple converging factors. First, the fixed supply of fewer than 6 authenticated specimens creates extreme scarcity. Second, growing wealth worldwide means more collectors with resources to compete for ultra-rarities. Billionaires and 100 millionaires increasingly view rare coins as tangible assets that can't be hacked, frozen, or inflated away. Third, younger collectors entering the market prefer modern coins they can relate to over historical coins from eras they didn't experience. The 2006 fits perfectly into modern collecting strategies. Fourth, authentication technology improvements give buyers confidence in genuineness, driving aggressive bidding. All these factors create upward price pressure that should continue for decades. Every single person watching this must check any 2006 nickels in their possession immediately. Don't assume it's impossible. Don't think lightning only strikes other people. These coins are still being found in circulation, in old coin jars and forgotten collections, in desk drawers and car cup holders. Your nickel could be next, but only if you actually examine it. The discovery process requires systematic approach. First, collect all your 2006 nickels in one location. Second, obtain a jeweler's loupe with 10x magnification at minimum. Third, examine each coin under bright LED lighting. Fourth, look specifically for the 3 error characteristics, doubling on "I in God we trust," doubling on the date, especially the 0 and 6, and die cap evidence on the reverse rim. Fifth, photograph any suspicious coins with high-resolution close-ups. Sixth, submit potential candidates to professional authentication services. Don't skip steps. Every multi-million-dollar discovery started with someone taking time to look carefully. The emotional journey of discovering you're holding life-changing wealth has been described by multiple finders as surreal, overwhelming, and almost dreamlike. One finder said, "I kept looking at the coin, then at the certification label, then back at the coin, unable to process that this tiny piece of metal was worth more than my parents' house, my car, and my entire retirement account combined. It felt like living in an alternate reality." Professional coin dealers who've handled these specimens describe them with reverence, usually reserved for historical artifacts. One dealer who brokered a private sale said, holding a 2006 double-die nickel worth tens of millions of dollars, knowing it was minted just 18 years ago and could have been spent on a candy bar, gives you profound appreciation for how random chance and knowledge intersect to create fortune. The authentication timeline from submission to receiving your graded coin back typically runs 6 to 8 weeks during normal periods, potentially longer during busy seasons. During this waiting period, resist every urge to discuss your potential find publicly. Social media posts have resulted in thefts, scams, and legal complications. One finder who posted excitedly about a potential discovery before authentication had their home burglarized while the coin was at the grading service. Keep it quiet, keep it safe, let professionals handle verification before celebrating. For those who discover they have an authentic specimen, the selling decision is complex. Auction provides maximum exposure and competitive bidding, but charges buyers premium and sellers commission, totaling potentially 20% of hammer price. Private treaty sales eliminate auction fees, but require finding serious buyers willing to pay fair market value. Some sellers choose a hybrid approach, using auction houses to broker private treaty sales. This provides professional intermediation. While avoiding public auction fees, whatever path you choose, work with established firms that have track records handling ultra-high value coins. The insurance requirements for storing and transporting these coins are extremely specific. Standard coin insurance covers up to certain limits, but for 8-figure values, specialized policies are mandatory. These policies require professional appraisals, specific storage conditions, alarm systems, and detailed documentation. When transporting for authentication or sale, registered mail with full insurance is minimum requirement. Some owners hire armed courier services for coins exceeding certain values. Every decision must account for the reality that you're handling an asset worth more than most people's houses. The legacy implications of discovering a coin this valuable extend beyond personal finance into family generational wealth. Properly managed, a $60 million coin discovery could provide financial security for children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. This is why working with wealth management professionals, estate planning attorneys, and tax specialists is absolutely critical. The decisions you make in the excitement following discovery will impact your family for generations. Take time, seek expert advice, and make informed choices about authentication, sale, and wealth management. And now, here's what you need to do right this second. Check every single 2006 nickel you can find. Search your change jars. Look through old collections. Examine pocket change. Ask family members to check their coins. This isn't paranoia. This is practical treasure hunting based on documented reality that these coins are still being found. Your fortune might be sitting in a drawer right now, collecting dust while you're sleeping on potential generational wealth. Subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub right now by hitting that subscribe button. Smash the like button if this video opened your eyes to possibilities you never imagined. Share this video with every person you know who handles coins, because you could literally change someone's life by sharing this information. Comment below if you're checking your coins after watching this. We want to hear your stories. And stay tuned to this channel, because we're constantly revealing valuable coins that could be hiding in your pocket change, your coin jar, or your collection. Knowledge builds wealth. Awareness creates opportunity. And you now have both. The only question is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to ignore it and potentially let a fortune slip through your fingers? Or are you going to take 10 minutes to check your nickels and potentially discover life-changing wealth? The choice is yours, but remember, every day you wait is another day that valuable coin could be spent, lost, or found by someone else. So act now. Check your coins, and who knows, you might be our next discovery story. Someone who went from watching a YouTube video to holding millions in their hands, all because you took the time to actually look. Good luck treasure hunting, and remember, fortune favors the observant.